I'm going to walk you through creating this thinking map right here. You are going to do your so what and your so why on your own in the end, but we're going to create the same sequencing map together. So you should have your title, dividing mixed numbers, and the practice problem right here, 6 2/5 divided by 8. And then you should have 6 boxes, and then your first box should have 2 smaller boxes coming off of it. So our first step that I want you to write in this first box right here is to fix the problem. Excuse me. Fix the problem. And there are 2 main things that I want you to think about when we're fixing the problem. The first thing is to change any mixed numbers into improper fractions. So looking at our problem, we have one mixed number right there, 6 2/5. So I'm going to write that down. And I'm going to change that into an improper fraction. So that if this is a skill that you struggle with, this is something that you should absolutely practice because we're going to be using it for dividing mixed numbers and throughout the school year. So if you're struggling with that, ask your teacher or go back in previous Canvas lessons or Khan Academy. Find a way to practice that. So right here we multiply. Up here we add. So 5 times 6 is 30. Plus 2 is 32, so that becomes my new numerator. And remember, my denominator just stays the same. So that is my new fraction. It's the same thing, but now it's easier to work with. The second thing that I want you to do when we're fixing the problem is place a 1 under any whole numbers. So any whole number has an invisible 1 underneath it because 1 will go into that number however many times. For example, we have 8 right there. So I want you to write 8. And we're going to place a 1 underneath 8 to turn it into a fraction because 1 can go into 8 times. So this is the same thing as 8 wholes. It's just now a fraction that we can work with better. All right. Second step is to do keep, change, flip. And remember, if this is going too fast for you, please pause it and make sure you have everything written down. Don't skip writing stuff because you're trying to do it faster, okay? Make sure you have everything written down. So we're going to do keep, change, flip. I'm going to rewrite the problem that I just created. So 32 over 5 divided by 8 over 1. And then I'm going to use keep, change, flip. I'm going to use a different color so it's easier to see. So I'm going to keep, change, flip. Keep 32 over 5. Change my division to multiplication. And I'm going to flip my second number to its reciprocal. So the reciprocal of 8 over 1 is just 1/8. So that is my new problem. Now it's multiplication and I know how to multiply. So this one should be a little bit easier to work with than the division problem. My second step over here is to cross reduce if possible. Sometimes it's not possible. And sometimes you might not cross reduce, and that's fine. But if you don't cross reduce here, then you're going to have a bigger fraction to have to simplify in the end. So it's much easier to cross reduce when we're at this stage because it's easier to do in our heads. So I'm going to take 32 over 5 times 1/8, because remember that's the new problem that we created after keep, change, flip. So I'm going to see if I can simplify anything here. This 1 and this 5, that can't be simplified anymore because that 1 is already a 1. Can't simplify any further. So let's look at 32 and 8. I know that both of those are divisible by 8. So I'm going to divide each of those numbers by 8. Remember, I have to do the same thing to both of the numbers. So 32 divided by 8 is 4. And 8 divided by 8 is 1. So my new problem is 4/5 times 1/8. Oh, sorry, 1 over 1, my bad. 1 over 1. All right, so that is a lot easier to deal with. So that is my new problem. My 32 became a 4. My 8 became a 1 because I divided both of those by 8. And remember, again, if you choose not to cross reduce, that's fine. It's just going to be a lot harder in the end. So my next step is to multiply the numerators. So I'm going to take 4/5 times 1 over 1, multiply 4 times 1. So my new numerator is 4. I don't know what my denominator is yet. You probably do, but we're pretending like we don't. And then we multiply the denominators. Oops, if I could spell denominator correctly. All right, so I still have 4 over 5 times 1 over 1. 5 times 1 is 5. That's my denominator. So my new problem is 4/5. So your last step, I want you to write this down just in case you didn't cross reduce. Your last step is to turn any improper fractions into mixed numbers and simplify if needed. It is so important that you have all of these steps written down, because even though we didn't really have to use this last step for this problem, I guarantee you will have many problems that you will have to do that for. So make sure that you have all of the steps written down. This is a great place to pause it so you can make sure you have everything and you've shown every step so that you know what to do. Please don't try to skip steps. Don't try to fix the problem and do keep, change, flip in the same step, or you will probably make a mistake. Don't try to cross reduce and multiply in exactly the same step. Please take it step by step. Promise you're not going to get through with it that much faster, and it also doesn't help you if you get it wrong. So I would like for you to come up with your own so what. Remember, your so what is a summary. You're telling me what we just did. Use a complete sentence. Do not start the sentence with the word so. You can tell me a summary. You can tell me what we learned. For your so why, again, please do not start the sentence with the word so. Just tell me in your own words, why is this important to know? What could we use this for? Can you think of any situation where I might have to divide a mixed number or a fraction in general? Okay? So make sure that you have all of this down, and then you are good to go.